It's only the third super speedway that the Truck Series has come to this season, but for 8 drivers, it's the most important one because 2 of them will be headed out of the playoffs after today. From Ontario, this is the California 250. Hello again, everybody. I'm Colin Denton with RVN, and welcome to the 11th race of the Truck Series season here at Ontario. And it's a huge race for these playoff drivers, hoping that they can advance to the next round. So far, after our last round at Derek's Motordrome, no one is mathematically clinched, but Adam Kuhn, Tyler Reed, Mike Simpson, all upwards of 40 points above the cut line. They feel pretty safe about themselves, so they're really just hoping to go for a victory to add on to their resume. But you have down at the cut line the 3 that we have to watch: Clint McComb, Steve Ray, Dalton Wise. McComb and Ray separated by 3 points. Dalton Wise not too far behind, but when you look at the stats at the super speedways, McComb is way lagging behind those other 2 drivers who are averaging at least a 13th place finish in the first 2 super speedways of the season. So this is a big moment for these drivers. They're hoping that they can have the right draft, the right strategy to make it through these 20 laps and get to the finish line first, or at least have enough to make it on to the next round, because the title hopes are in full swing. Now looking at the first of our heat races, 3 of them now advancing 10 drivers due to the large field size. A little bit of early drama between Carson and Mitchell getting into the side of Lucas Setz in turn 2. Going into turn 1, Setz way up the racetrack. That will allow 5 to get underneath. Then in turn 3, it's Steven Schaff that makes his way to the front of the field. And then down in the turn 1, Fred Bow able to claim the lead and then the victory in this heat race, followed by Cabico, Springer, Johnson, and Stromberg, all finding their way in, along with Schaff, Setz, and Fife, who were leading at one point in this duel. Moving on to the second heat, it's the 93 of Zach Winkle out in front early, but then it will be Tyler Bate working his way up toward the front. He'll go to the inside of the 93. Chris Stottlemyre wants a piece of the action. He'll work his way up toward the front, and then it's Ryan Wenham, who surprised everyone in his debut in the series, making the start at Derek's Motordrome. Zach Winkle in the 93 truck working his way backwards, as Wenham will take the victory, followed by Jackson, Evans, Griffin, and Khaled Campbell. They will all make the field all the way down to 10th place Jonathan Mick. And then in the final of our heat races, it's Gabe Finney leading the way to the green flag, but Juan Garcia will make a move to the inside, and he'll take over the lead. A little bit of contact here between Jonathan Wong in the 1 and Diego Yepes in the 44 down in turn 2. They're both able to keep it straight, and then a big push from Justin Zeidel on Colin Murphy to get him to the inside of Cameron Vargo. And Richard Morris able to propel himself into the field in the final moments of the race. So Murphy, Zeidel, Roberts, Vargo, and Ormond among those moving on, with Yepes, who had that contact, Garcia, who was on the front row to start, and Morris, who just worked his way into this 30-truck final event to see which 6 will make it on to the points-paying event. Fred Bow, who led the field to the green, experiencing some early troubles. Meanwhile, Richard Morris, who just made his way in, had to start at the back, working his way up. Colin Murphy was leading, but then a big charge from Andrew Gorman and a push from Juan Garcia is going to get him up to the front, and he's going to take the checkered flag on this final heat event. We take a look at the final results. Gorman moves on along with Zeidel. Richard Morris works his way all the way back from 30th to 3rd position. Ryan Wenham 2 races to start off his career. Juan Garcia making his debut along with Colin Murphy. Tough luck for the next 5 drivers behind him: Wilder, Ormond, Springer, Stromberg, and Fife, all looking to make their debut runs. That will not happen this time around. We take a look at our hot seat driver for today's race, who will have our helmet cam. Josh McCoy, working 4 straight top 10s, including a runner-up at Derek's Motordrome, was really close to grabbing that first victory. Unfortunately, that went to Benny Seitzer, so he will look for victory today. Hopefully, he'll have the best view of it with that helmet cam on board. We look at the standings board for the playoffs, and as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Clint McComb, Steve Ray separated by 3 points. Dalton Wise not too far behind. It can all be built up or broken down in one race, and realistically, there are still a couple drivers there that, even though they have a little bit more of a points buffer, they can't be too safe, because we saw what happened to Jasper Riles at Derek's Motordrome. He had the victory in his hands, and he made a blunder entering pit lane, finished nearly a lap down at the back of the lead lap, but he still managed to keep himself in an okay position in points. He can't rely on that 2 races in a row. Every point matters. They're going to have to go for it all here, and we will see how they finish at the end of this 20-lap stint. Let's head down trackside, and let's get the starting command to get this thing going.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal,
Senior Vice President of Merchandising for Fred's, Teresa Gabor.
Drivers, start your engine!
42 trucks lined up to take on this 2.5-mile beast. Here is today's starting lineup. Starting on pole for the first time in his career, Ryan Parsons in the number 79 John Deere Chevrolet, and to his outside, Colin Murphy in the number 64 Ford barely made the field before turning a huge lap in qualifying for his series debut. In row number 2, we have Emerson Sims, who got a season-best 4th at Derrick's Motodrome, and Billy Thompson, superspeedway finishes of 12th and 13th. Row number 3, Moses Osborne got a runner-up in the latest superspeedway at Zandjoltis, Kevin Knight seeking his first top 10 since Columbia. Jesse McConnell, the Columbia pole sitter, starts on the inside of row 4, followed by Jim Fowler, our first playoff driver, 15 points above the cut line. In row 5, Reeson C. finished 8th at Derrick's Motodrome, his best finish since Twin Ring Motegi. Ryan Wenham, 2 races in a row he's qualified to start his career. He finished 39th at Derrick's Motodrome. James Smith on the inside of row 6, one of 4 drivers with 2 top 10s at superspeedways, 4 races though without a top 20 now. And Daniel Voiles, a 33.5 average finish on superspeedways, a decent qualifying run for him though. Making up row number 7, Jason Langley, 8 of 10 races he's finished outside the top 20. Benny Seitzer on the outside, Derrick's Motodrome winner, looking to make it back-to-back. Derek Anderline got a top 10 at Zandjoltis. He's joined in row number 8 by Barry Watson, who missed the playoffs but has finished the last 2 races inside the top 12. In row number 9, 2 decent finishes at Derrick's Motodrome. Hunter Cox finished 5th, Essentia finished 14th. Rounding out the top 20, Trevor Nix finished 18th at Columbia, and Justin Lisenby has finished last in both superspeedway races, hoping to not make it 3 for 3. In row 11, we have the first practice leader, Carter Friesen, and Dalton Wise on the outside, 5 points below the cut line, 37th in both races this round. In row 12, Robbie Bell, back-to-back top 20s for him, struggles at the superspeedways though, and Dylan Lexton, the only driver in the field with 2 superspeedway top 5s. Starting inside row 13, the driver just inside the cut line, Clint McComb, by 3 points, finished 14th at Columbia. Justin Zeidel making his second career start, he finished 14th at Toronto. Row 14 has Ross Kispin, 3 straight finishes of 11th or better, and our hot seat driver Josh McCoy, 4 straight top 10s for him. Richard Morris making his 5th career Truck Series start, got his first top 10 at Derrick's Motodrome, finished 10th. He shares row 15 with Aaron Dumati, who is still looking for his first top 10. In row 16, Andy Quinn, who finished 7th at Derrick's Motodrome, and Aria Carmona, who has got 2 straight top 20s. In row 17, Juan Garcia making his series debut in his 8th attempt, and Tyler Reed, Zandjoltis winner, finished 8th at Columbia. In row 18, Taylor the Pig looking to recover from his rollover crash in the last race, and playoff contender Steve Ray, 3 points behind the cut line, he finished 7th at Zandjoltis. He's followed by another playoff contender, Jasper Rawls, massive mistake at Derrick's Motodrome, but he's still 27 points above the cut line, and Roger Ray shares that row with him, 2 finishes outside the top 20 after 6 races inside of it. Another playoff contender in row 20, 4 straight top 20s for Mike Simpson. He is comfortably above the cut line. He's alongside Keith Young, superspeedway finishes of 30th and 35th. Bringing up the rear of the field, it's Andrew Gorman making his second career start, finished 24th at Trenton in his first attempt, and Adam Kuhn tied for the best superspeedway average finish at 4th. He's going to have to come from the rear. Time for these drivers to get locked in, and you can get locked into our NFRN streams for our 8 playoff drivers. As they look to secure their spot in the next round, the streams are now open over on the NFRN channel. They come down the front stretch and the green flag flies, 20 laps from here at Ontario, ready to go. Didn't take long for Parsons to slide up the racetrack, and now the lead is handed over to Emerson Sims, at least for the moment, because here comes Moses Osborne. The draft is going to be huge with these trucks. Cutting a big hole through the air, and here comes the 85 to the inside. Now it's Osborne to the lead, and he's looking to lead lap 1. Recency trailing Osborne, seeing if he can take advantage. Doesn't look like he's going to get it right here. Looks like Osborne will come down the front straightaway. We'll see if the 69 tries to pull out and start to get an advantage going down into turn 1. There he goes. Osborne will lead the first lap, but Recency trying to take advantage Going into the corner, he'll need a little bit of help. There goes the 24 to the bottom. Recency has the draft from the 24, and Osborne out of the groove. He will lose the lead right away. And with these drivers running in such close proximity, we'll be keeping an eye out to see if they're in danger of wrecking. We went through those 4 races in the heats, the 3 heat races plus the feature to set the 6 going through to this event. They were able to get through all of those races without crashing at all, even though there was a little bit of body contact in the corners. We'll see if we get an accident here. Meanwhile, Jim Fowler, who was the highest qualifying of all the playoff drivers, sliding backwards quickly. Started in the 8th position, but has found himself out of the groove, cannot get down to the bottom, and now he's going to find himself at the back of the field. And we'll see how this shuffles up the playoff standings. He was in good position there, but now he is only 10 points above. At the moment, that's not a problem because he can easily gain those spots back, but if he does not and Dalton Wise starts having a good day, then he's going to be in trouble. Just looking at the spots that have been lost in the first 2 laps, Jim Fowler 33 spots down, Billy Thompson 22, and essentially who he's just going by now 18 spots down. Ooh, contact! Coming off of turn 2, that is Jasper Rouse who saves it. Made contact with Daniel Voiles trying to get by him exiting turn 2. He's going to keep it straight, and he cannot afford a bad finish. He is in a good position as it stands, as we see James Smith getting help from Kevin Knight and pretty much the entire field, as Recency now going to struggle, although he's going to find his way in between the gap that just opened up between Smith and Knight. So only loses that 1 spot, but Smith will take over the lead and get the bonus point. Jasper Rowell is now trying to recover from that incident. I believe he's lost a few positions in that time that he's tried to get his truck back up to speed, but again, still 36 points above the cut line. That is perfectly acceptable for where everyone else is running at the moment. Just got to keep it on the track and really hope that those 3 drivers that were at the back of the field to start with do not have a good day. We see McComb is inside the top 10, so that's really boosted him in the points, but Steve Ray, Dalton Wise not faring just as great. And there's the 8 truck trying to make a move inside of Parsons, the pole sitter, who was 4th at the start of the lap. Looks like he's dropped several spots. And now McComb kind of on an island now as he's trying to catch that front pack. A little bit of a breakaway to get back to Bell, who is now in the 5th position. And we see a move being made to the inside. Kevin Knight trying to take over the 2nd spot from the 69. Carter Friesen stays on the outside, but it looks like Bell's going to have the advantage by staying on the inside. Take the spot away from the 92 and ultimately get it from the 69. And now Kevin Knight works his way up to 2nd. Only 1 top 10 in his career. Got a 10th place at Columbia, another super speedway. Scattered in some top 20s and hopefully going to see himself get another top 10 or maybe something better as he tries to fight James Smith for the lead. Jesse McConna rocking some new colors for just this race. Pole award at Columbia, finished 4th in that event. Runner-up at Mayville, and then a victory at Toronto. Just 1 race too late for making the playoffs, but obviously still a lot to go for. Can still go for the 9th position in standings. Something to boost the morale for next season if he chooses to return. Perhaps moves up a series. We will see at season's end, as now Kevin Knight getting a boost from Robbie Bell, and they're going to both go by the 24, or at least that should be the plan once they go through these corners. Knight to the front, Bell following suit. 5 laps in the books. We will be right back here at Ontario.
NASCAR driver and truck team owner Ernie Irvin spends a lot of time with his top technicians. And when they need a top quality replacement part,
I got the problem, Ernie.
they know just who to call. They call a Federated Auto Parts professional.
Professional installers trust the Federated Auto Parts pros. They're the best in the business. The guys in the know.
They're the Federated Auto Parts pros.
Back at Ontario on lap number 7, Kevin Knight holding down the lead. Robbie Bell and Recency up in the top 3. McComb, the first playoff driver, he makes up the 4th position. Just a reminder that if you would like to run the final 2 truck events of the season, signups are open for part-time qualifying. You can attempt to go for those final few events See if you can be a part of those 6 drivers that make the field. Deadline is in 2 days' time, so make sure to sign up right now if you are not already signed up in that or in any of our full-timer leagues. Steve Ray has found his way to the back of the field. That is not good for his playoff hopes. Dalton Wise still behind him on points, and now we'll see the 21 start to work his way forward because really nowhere to go other than forward. But this is a big development because Steve Ray really hoping that he could get his momentum from getting in on points and take it into the next round. Unfortunately, that's not panning out as we now see Robbie Bell working his way forward. He's going to go to the inside of Kevin Knight, and it looks like Clint McComb is going to go and follow the 27 truck. So now McComb takes over second, and the 8 truck is looking to see if he can get a victory. As it currently stands, he definitely doesn't need it, but you really want to go for a victory no matter what because that's just the racer's mentality. Riding on board the 8 truck right now as he follows the 27. See if he can go on the offense, try to make a pass on the 27, or if he's going to have to play defense and make sure that no one else passes him, maintains that position. Here's the winner from Derek's Motodrome. Benny Seitzer not having the greatest of days. You can see he's a little bit further back in the field. Has some decent finishes on the super speedways, both inside the top 20. And he finds himself inside the top 20 on points. Just hasn't been the greatest of seasons, but got a runner-up at Texas World. Almost looked like he could have gone for a playoff run. Unfortunately, did not pan out, did not make the move on Adam Kuhn on the final lap. And we ride on board Josh McCoy, give him that helmet cam look while he's running inside a pack. And you can see James Smith, who was leading just a few laps ago, he has really faded back through the field. He is outside the top 10. This has really been the problem for Smith, who looked like he had an early opportunity to go into the playoffs, and then it really fell apart later on in the regular season. And now it's kind of reflecting back on this race where he had the lead, and now he's falling back through the field. Here's another driver who had their playoff hopes crushed. Barry Watson had a playoff berth, got the victory in the season opening race at Columbia, and then didn't have the points to back it up. And he's had some solid finishes in these past 2 races, unfortunately. Just doesn't have any opportunity to show that off. And right now, he's trying to work his way up through the field, not inside the top 10 at the moment. Tyler Reed still has a comfortable playoff cushion, even though it looks like he's a little bit further back in the field with Adam Kuhn. Working his way to the inside of Taylor the Pig. You can see that is the back of the field. Juan Garcia currently running last. As the 12 car, hoping to just maintain his position. Really, all it takes is for one of those guys at the back to either win or finish well to put him in danger. And really, Steve Ray and Dalton Wise not running too well at the moment, as we see pretty much the entire field coming down for a pit stop. Robbie Bell leading them down, and this is going to be a huge traffic jam. See a couple of trucks stay out on the racetrack. I believe that was Justin Zidell and Arya Carmona. They will stay out. Zidell got the bonus point for leading the lap. But now let's watch these pit stops. Bell comes in. I would imagine it's going to be a 4-tire stop. They are past halfway, so I wouldn't imagine that fuel is going to be an issue now because they got this far. They'll take 4 tires and they'll be on their way. Shouldn't have to come down unless they got a mechanical problem. Steve Ray hoping that this pit crew can get him out fast so we can make up some time. Unfortunately, there's only so much time that you can make up, and the 21 truck so far behind, it's going to be such a difficult task to maneuver, and now he's stalled on pit lane. This is a huge disaster for the 21 team. Looks like they might be out of the playoffs after the first round, as Jim Fowler now off the jack. Was really hoping for a better day than he's currently having, as now he's getting a little held up by Colin Murphy, who had a great qualifying run. Not quite backing it up right now, and neither is Jim Fowler. We obviously saw how far back he fell right off the start of the race, and he's trying to claw it back. He should be fine, though, in terms of where they run. Just a matter of making up that ground, showing that you belong in these playoffs. And now we see those final 2 drivers that stayed out. Carmona got the bonus point for leading the lap. And McComb was the first driver of the playoffs to make it off of pit lane. He's doing everything perfectly right now. Still a few laps to go before we determine a winner. But in terms of just getting the points, he's accomplishing that mission, trying to make it into the round of 6. It's currently Moses Osborne out in front. One more quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to take you to the finish.
the 500 horsepower Dodge Ram SRT10.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, the fastest production truck in the world.
Working lap 12 for the Truck Series here at Ontario. Moses Osborne holding down the lead. At least that's what it will say once they cross the line. Carmona and Zidell pitted late, and now Osborne will take over the lead, and McComb, currently in the 8th position, finds himself 31 points above the cut line. Big gain from where he started the day, as Steve Ray and Dalton Wise just simply haven't had the speed to keep up, and something happened to Ray on pit lane, so that obviously held him up a little bit more, and now it looks like his playoff hopes might be done, barring some kind of issue to a couple of these drivers up in front, as we now see Bell looking to the inside of Osborne. Neither driver has any drafting help, so should just go to the 27 for having the inside groove. And if Osborne is smart, he'll just give up the spot and slide down in the line, but it's a little bit difficult up in those marbles in the light gray area, and he's going to lose that spot and possibly a little bit more as Carter Friesen now on the charge. 92 tucks in for now. He looks again. Is he going to get the spot? No, not quite yet, but Osborne slides again, and Friesen looking inside, has a little bit of drafting help, and no. Osborne maintains the spot. Great racing there at the front of the field. As we look back through our playoff drivers, and you can see a bundle here. Rouse and Simpson going to the inside of Fowler, which again, Fowler, now the driver just above the cut line, but he's 31 points as it currently stands. Obviously that updates at the line, but he's just got to finish this race. He is okay as it stands, and so is Rouse, so is Simpson. Basically all you want to do is maintain that position. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, kind of like Rouse did at Derek's Motordrome as we take a look at the replay from that incident. Attempted to come down to pit lane under green flag conditions, overshot it, ended up on the flat and the banking at the same time and got stuck. Was able to get his lap back, but really ended up finishing effectively a lap down, and that really put him behind on where he could have been in points, could have gotten a victory, moved on automatically. Didn't happen. Still okay in the points, and now currently pretty great in the points, just like Simpson is 56 points up. All you got to do right now is just maintain, and you will be in the next round of the playoffs. Adam Kuhn kind of on his own. But again, all you got to do is maintain. No reason to put yourself in a bad situation, and 19 can just cruise from where he is, which is a little bit further back than he might like to be on this particular race. But the way things have shook out, Ray and Wise have been unable to overcome that gap, and that's effectively allowed everyone else to just cruise. Tyler Reed included in that, although it looks like the way he is running right now, he will not have a 100% hit rate on top 10s at super speedway. He's got the victory at Zen Jolts, his top 10 at Columbia, finishing 8th, but at the moment, pretty far back in the field. And again, just circumstances are not working in your favor, but the way that they're working for Ray and Wise, it just doesn't matter right now because you are in the next round of the playoffs as long as you don't do something stupid. So just keep at it, because here's Ray and Wise, and ironically running right next to each other, sandwiched in between Morris and Quinn. We take a look at those finishes for these drivers and where they're currently running. That is not a typo for Wise, by the way. 37th in both of the first two races and currently 37th on the track. That would be quite an interesting run if he were to finish 37th in all three of these races, and it might happen if Quinn doesn't try to make a move or if he doesn't make a move on Ray, but at this rate, they're just trailing each other and trying to fight to get back up in a pack where they can gain some positions. It's just not working out because they're now 4 laps to go on this race. And it looks like it's going to be the end for these two drivers who can still fight for as high as 5th in the points if they have some good races in the next round or in the finale. As Wise works his way to the bottom, trying to see if he can make a move on Ray, but 21 continues to follow the 51, maintains his draft, so 77 going to maintain his position. Back at the front, it is still Bell at the front. No one has really made a move to get past him, or at least a successful one. See a little bit of jostling there for position. McComb looking a little bit lower than 69 is. And Osborne was thinking about a move on Bell. Really just need 2 drivers to go At the same time, down into the corner, here comes the 69. Trying to make a move for second, and he's going to get the help from McComb, so Osborne now out of the groove. And it looks like Gorman will follow. Great run for that driver, making his second career start. Made his first attempt at Trenton. Hasn't made a race since, after he finished 24th in that debut, and now in line for a good finish here. Riding on board the 8, is he going to make a move? Yes, he is. Close enough from the 69. Going to try to push him out into the outside lane, and the 8 truck now into second place. He is tracking down Bell. He doesn't have to win, but he can go for the victory. Just do not wreck yourself. That is all you have to do. Because no one is out of this event yet, so wrecking yourself here is going to put you in last place, more or less. And the 27 still working a decent gap as the 8 looks low. Tries to take a shallower entrance into the corner, but the 27 able to force that off, keep the dirty air on the 8. Derek Anderline working the back of the 13. Let's give credit to Zidell and Carmona for making the move to not pit at the same time as everyone else. Everyone else came down the pit lane, huge traffic jam. Zidell and Carmona were outside the top 30 at the time. Now Zidell was 9th, Carmona 11th, making a move for 10th. A great gain for that decision. Could have been a little bit risky. Never knew how long that fuel mileage was, but it ended up being a good gamble. They're going to get a good run out of today. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, it is going to be the white flag coming off the final corner. It is pretty certain that we are going to have the playoff field that we currently have on screen. McComb does not have to win this race, but he is going to certainly try. Gorman ducked low. Osborne went to his outside, and now he's going to fade back because he's going to have no help from behind. The 8 truck is right on the back bumper of the 27. If he's going to have any chance of making this move, it has to be down into turn 3. Not quite close enough, and Gorman is gaining ground. Is he going to pull out? Yes, he is, and now the 8 truck in a little bit of defense mode. And he's going to maintain the spot. Gorman cannot get around, but he's not going to have a chance to challenge the 27 without applying the bumper. And I just don't think that's smart right now. He is in the playoffs as it stands. Robbie Bell coming off a corner number 4, runner-up at Toronto, averaging 38th position at Super Speedways. Today, he's going to be a winner as McComb peeks out, but Bell is going to grab the victory at Ontario. Well, McComb tried to make it interesting there at the very end, but never had the firepower to make the move, and Bell will claim his first career victory here at Ontario. Great run for that 27 truck. We'll take a look at the final finishing results. Bell grabbing the victory, McComb just coming up short, but enough to get him into the next round of the playoffs. A great run for Andrew Gorman, second career start. He finishes in the 3rd position. Never talked about Aaron Dumati at all today, but he ended up there in the 4th position, and the first practice leader, Carter Friesen, finishes 5th. Recency was up front for a little bit. He finishes 6th. Justin McConna, pole sitter at Columbia, 7th. Osborne was trying to do everything he could to maintain position. He'll finish in 8th. And those 2 drivers that made a gamble on the pit stop, Zidell and Carmona, 9th and 10th. Outside the top 10, Watson, Lisenby, Thompson. Jasperell's the next playoff driver down the list, as well as Mike Simpson and Jim Fowler inside the top 20. And a very solid run for Colin Murphy, the outside pole sitter. Fell back a little bit, but he was able to recover it back to a 16th place run. Adam Kuhn kind of finishing in no man's land in 26th, but it is enough to get him into the next round of the playoffs. Pole sitter Ryan Parsons finishing 23rd, and teammate Josh McCoy in 24th. Ryan Wenham there in the 25th position. Props to him. Second career start in his second attempt, and he finishes a lot better than he did in his first race. The Zen Joltis winner, Tyler Reed, further back than he would like to be, but he will still advance, and Steve Ray and Dalton Wise will not, as they finish way back in the field, and Dalton Wise will not keep his immaculate 37th place run going as he finishes 38th instead. Also surprising to see James Smith, who was up there leading the race at one point, 34th on the finishing order. Derek's Motodrome winner, Benny Seitzer, in 39th. Here's how those standings panned out. We already talked about who was advancing, and it really wasn't close after McComb got that runner-up finish. Able to surpass Jim Fowler, and so the cut line was 34 points apart. But now all of those points reset and those 6 drivers are all equal heading to Myrtle Beach. As far as the rest of the standings go, Justin McConnell got a little bit of a leg up after that top 10 finish. McCoy and Parsons just following behind. Robbie Bell was 20th in the points entering today's race, and now he has jumped all the way up to 16th position. Kind of going in the opposite direction, Benny Seitzer, after grabbing victory at the last race, went from 18th to 22nd. There was also a big slide for Daniel Voiles, who went from 23rd to 29th after his result. As far as the team standings go, Western Motorsports holding down the fort over Eagle Motorsport after both of its drivers finished in front of Hunter Cox. However, after Clint McComb's runner-up finish, Ramco Motorsports went from 5th to 3rd. And when we head to Milwaukee Mile next race, the Truck Series will not be there, but the Amateur Cup Series will. So these are the 14 drivers that will try to compete in that Amateur Cup Series event. The only difference between this race and the last is that Moses Osborne has supplanted Dylan Lexton. So that is going to do it from Ontario. 2 drivers eliminated, 6 drivers still alive, and 2 short tracks coming up in this next round. A lot of beating and banging to see who will make it to the championship 4. Next race up for the trucks is at Myrtle Beach. And coming up next, we've got the Elite Cup Series racing at Ontario for their round of 12. For NFRN and RVN, my name is Colin Denton. We will see you all next time.